Cyclocross Series consists of 11 races between September and December. I raced in 10 of those events in an effort to win the single-speed class. And this is how it went. Real-world epics, training, racing, and figuring out how to balance it all with life's demands. This is Low-Angle Adventures. Okay, so first race of the season, new venue, and I'm coming into this exhausted from prior day's NICA race and just being out there in the sun all day, and unsure of where I stand fitness-wise. But listen carefully to the chaos on the start here.
Woo! Oh, good Lord.
So, first race of the season, I didn't line up on the front row intentionally, just because I wasn't sure where I stood. I figured I could follow people around for a while and kind of feel it out, just see how it played out. So that's Alex Martinek there in the red and blue, and Chris Hill there on my right in front of me. Those are both single speeders and guys I'm racing against. And on my left, there goes Christian McKenna in the tie-dye hippie outfit. So I'm going to let this play for a little while just because the chaos of this first lap is kind of fun. Christian gets his elbows out, starts shoving people around. Gets kind of interesting here, and I'm just trying to hold on, want to make sure that these guys don't get too far out in front of me, but also want to feel out where I am fitness-wise, because I haven't had an effort like this in, I don't know, a month and a half at this point. And cross is always a little different anyway. So that nonsense sorts itself out. This is probably lap and a half, 2 laps in. Running across the barriers here with Chris Hill in front of me. I'm in third now. That's Martinek there in the red and blue that just went around the corner. And Hill immediately in front of me is in my class as well. So I'm in third, and Chris is getting ready to go past one of the 1-2 riders. I think that's Ryan Craig. And I make the move with him. And now here we are about, I don't know, next lap, maybe 2 laps later. I make this move inside of Chris, go over these barriers. At this point, we are in front of Alex, so this is pass for the lead. And nothing miraculous going on there. In previous years, I might have jumped those barriers. Little preview of the course here. This is one of the sand pits that we had to run through. And I'm just slowly pulling away from Chris here into the lead. Kind of a neat feature here, this track going through this barn with loose sand on both sides. I'm sorry, loose gravel on both sides. Bit of a mess. And getting close to the finish now. This was a quick one, pretty uneventful race. Across the finish there. A few fist bumps later, and that is that. Felt pretty good and managed to win the single speed class.
Nice job.
Okay, second race of the season. I'm going to start this a little bit before the gun because there's some interesting things that happen here. You can see this rider coming in. I think this is Brandon Goranson. He's on a single speed, so I will be racing against him. He's super late. I was late, didn't get the front row start I wanted. And he tries to go to the back. They heckle him. And so he squeezes right in front here just as the gun goes right now. Squeezes in front of Shannon Boroff there in the blue kit. Shannon gets a terrible start, but we're off. So Brandon's going, and Chris Stewart there with envy on his butt ends up being kind of my primary competition in this race. And of course, there's Christian McKenna again in the tie-dye hippie kit with the baggies. First corner, real fun.
Oh boy!
Good commentary there by Christian. And I'm about where I want to be. Managed to hang in there through that first corner. Now I'm moving in right on Chris's wheel. This is kind of where I want to be because I know Chris has got a big engine. And he ends up being my primary competition in this race. Okay, so here we are, few laps in. This is Ben Biggerstaff, 1-2 rider. Having a little trouble with the corners here. I get a nice inside move because he's slip sliding around, and you can see I'm pedaling there, pretty pedaled out. We get to the flat section, and he does the predictable with his gears and his engine. And then he takes a couple weird looks around. I'm not sure why. Maybe he wanted to know if I could go with him. I couldn't quite go with him, but it was enough to hang on until we hit these stairs up here. I'll just let it play out. So Ben runs right up the middle. I run up to him and then am able to kind of squeeze inside here. I get a slightly quicker remount and make that pass stick. I don't remember how this plays out. I suspect he beat me in the end. Doesn't matter. He's on gears anyway. This is how I spent most of this race. Chasing Chris Stewart around with his big engine and his slightly bigger gear. I was pretty much out of gas most of this race, just trying to hang on. And Chris is a great guy. Puts on our big local gravel event called the Boise Gravel Gala, and is just a good bike rider, good bike racer, huge engine, and good bike handler. And he's really was racing well this year. We had a couple of good battles that you'll see. So again, this is just most of this race ends up with me just hanging on to his wheel, hoping to hold on to the end and then maybe have something for him there. But I think he knows he's wearing me out. So last lap, I decide I've got to make a move, use this traffic here to my advantage, get inside. We come together a little bit.
Sorry. It's okay.
Chris, being the polite bike racer that he is, apologizes while we're on the bike. And then I'm trying to make this move stick, a little bit of a hurry here.
Oh.
This guy apologizes. I don't know who that is, but it was nice of him. And so now I'm in front, last lap. And as we get close to the finish,
So many people ripping the tape. Yeah.
Chris comments on the fact that so many people have run through the tape here, and it's just a complete mess. And the fact that he can speak in full sentences at this point tells me that I am in trouble. Listen to my breathing. Yeah, I'm pretty much maxed out, and we just have a few corners to go, and the predictable happens. The big engine and the bigger gear do this. Now, you'll remember that I ran with Ben up these stairs earlier, and I was kind of hoping I could make that same move on Chris, but he wastes no time. So this is for the win, and I'm thinking maybe I can get in there, but Chris has a fantastic remount, gets on top of that gear in a hurry, and watch what happens here. Yeah, he's just got a lot more in the tank than I have at this point. Last real corner of the race, he's got a big enough gap there that I'm not going to be able to do much. He looks back, and that is that. I lose this race by 4 seconds or so. Disappointing, but fantastic racing. So second place in that one. Okay, so here we are the next day. I get my front row starting position this time. Same course, opposite direction, but the same start up the hill. Takes me just a second to get on top of this gear, and meanwhile half of the front row winds up in front of me, including someone there in the George's kit, a couple of these tribe kids that are trying real hard right out of the gate. Looks like Ben Biggerstaff and Zach Stayer's in there. So they quit pedaling, I keep pedaling, and some good commentary here.
Oh, Josh. It's always the same.
I love that stuff while we can all still breathe. These first infield corners are kind of fun. I've got more speed than I'm able to use. Meanwhile, the front of this race is riding away. I'm a little frustrated being behind some of these kids, but I'm just going to let it play here, so listen for the commentary here in a minute.
No guys, no gaps.
Yeah, as you can see, they're starting to let it open up in front of them, and I don't want that to happen. So, not a big deal. I think I end up coming around them pretty quickly, and they're not racing against me anyway, so that is what it is. This is a fantastic move I put in just as an example of what happens oftentimes on a one-speed against riders with gears and big engines. Ben makes this move yesterday knowing that I went with him once, and he makes it in such a way that I will not and cannot go with him on this day. Lots of speed there. You see he just virtually coasts around that guy, and nothing I can do doesn't matter anyway. He's on gears. But fun racing. So again, a battle with Chris Stewart here, envy on his butt. And Chris knows he's got me probably, but he still has to make it happen. And he does it in like maybe the move of the season here. Watch how this unfolds. We come up around this left-hander. He goes around this kid in the white kit. Nice move, makes it stick. Kid can't handle it. Down he goes. And goodbye, Chris. So here's what that looks like from his perspective. I'm trying hard here to keep up. He goes around the kid, and down he goes, and I bobble, and the elastic is broken for the rest of the race. Back to me now. That's Chris disappearing into the distance, and in this direction, the course just had enough speed on this upcoming downhill section that there was nothing I could do. Chris wins this race by 20 seconds. It was a hard one and a frustrating one, but again, good racing. I get second.
You ready to go?
Okay, third race of the season. Beautiful fall colors here at Eagle Island. I get a front row start, just want to be up there with Chris. And something to know about this track is that it has a section in it that is flat and freeway fast for 4.5 minutes, maybe half a lap. And I am unknowingly undergeared going into it. It is what it is. I'm going to let this play for a little bit here. We're going to get into some sand, and you'll see that Chris, with this giant gear that he's got on his bike, chooses a little bit different strategy than I do. As we go through the sand, I'll let that happen. So I can pedal through this stuff a little easier than he can, just with my smaller gear, but he is outside on the harder sand. As we get into this, he opts to run. I opt to stay on, not moving very fast at all. He's much faster running. But as you'll see, this plays out such that it's about the same speed coming out of this sand. I'm still on my bike, going slower. Chris is back on his bike now, but trying to turn that monster gear. I get up next to him, trying to get in his pedals. Somebody asks him if he knows how to work those things, which is fantastic. And so I know we've got a big steep section coming up, so we're going to jump ahead here just a few turns, and we're coming into this steep section. I know I want to be in front of Chris for it because I can ride it and I don't think he can. So I make this move, and a few turns to go. We're going to come up to this really short, sharp hill that I can barely pedal up. I think my bike is 2-to-1 for this. 32.16 if I remember right, and I am just barely able to turn over the pedals coming out of the top of this. There's Ben Biggerstaff again on the gears, disappearing. And we're going to jump ahead here until we get to this flat section where, again, the predictable happens. Now, this is Chris with his monster gear and his big engine. He lifts just for a second here as we go around this left, and then he begins the move that wins the race for him. That's pretty much it. I'm like 110, 115 RPM here. Stupidly undergeared, because if I had put the right gear on the bike, I do think I could have at least gone with him there. But it is what it is. So, jumping ahead to the end of the race, this is my buddy Gabe Keck. He's caught me. He's in a master's class behind, and a fun finish here. Chris has already won the single speed race, but this is a fun finish with Gabe. As I'm trying to make something happen here, spinning out. He's pushing a gear. He looks back. Couple good fun looks over his shoulder. Oh, there's still someone there. Oh, still someone there, and on the gas. And Alex Phipps, the announcer, the answer is no, and he is absolutely right. The answer was no. I could not do anything about that, but it was awesome. Good job, Gabe. There's Chris. Fist bumps. And I am maxed out there. I think my heart rate was 183 or something in that final little effort. Will Stinger.
Oh, yeah.
And
All right.
fist bump with Brandon Akers.
Nice job, Brandon.
Second place at that one. So here we are the next day, beautiful fall colors again. I've got the bike geared way up, and we are going to go right into that flat, fast section right out of the start here. So I've got the biggest gear I can put on the bike, which is a 3616. Remember, this is a mountain bike, so some limitations there, and I also just don't have that many gears. Anyway, Chris Hill jumps out to an early lead. I don't know what was going on in this starting line, but lots of lazy movements. And so I've got the two Chris's, Chris Hill in the front and then Chris Stewart in the kit with Envy on his butt there. And Gabe Keck, the Hamburglar, here on my left, letting people know he's there. Put this in because it's a fantastic move and one that's a good reminder that the course is defined by the banner tape and the natural obstacles. Ryan Craig sneaking around that barrier, and the Hamburglar jumping it and coming around me on my right. I don't know what he's doing with his hands there. But we're going to jump ahead here to the crux moment of the race. So on this off-camber left, it's coming up, I have a pedal strike, and you'll see how that works out. I'm behind two Chris's here in third. And on the ground, both feet still in the pedals, stand up quick. Realize immediately that my saddle is twisted about 40 degrees. I opt to continue, and about a lap and a half later, I regret that move. I was just convinced I could compete with that bigger gear, and I made another mistake. Have a pedal strike, go out the front door, smashing my groin into the stem on the way, and had to, sort out my yard sale for a few minutes and figure out if things were okay. They were, but DNF this one as I'm picking up the pieces. A real bummer, but that's cross racing. No mistakes are allowed. So here we are, fourth venue of the year, Grassy Cross. This is a fantastic race. They have us in the sand 7 times per lap. This is a 2-day event, Saturday and Sunday. As you can see, long line of riders. I am on the inside here, ready to go. And the first corner gets real exciting, real fast. Just a second to get on top of the gear, but I'm in good position. There's McKenna on my outside, and blammo, right into the ground. So that's Martinek, as you can see. He's tangled up in my bike, standing on my rear wheel, his other foot through my triangle. Takes us a minute. Everybody is gone. I'm putting on my sunglasses. Tell him to get on it. Let's go catch up. And I'm just going to let this play for a minute because this is some fun stuff. So Alex comes around me. I'm happy to let his big engine do the work. Hopefully he's going to draw me back to these guys.
Well, let's use what we got here.
And listen carefully to what gets said right here.
Josh, your bar went in my pocket.
Josh, your bar went in my pocket. That's McKenna. Okay. That's what you get for wearing baggies, or maybe I should say that's what I get. Anyway, we do eventually reel in the group, and I get around Alex at some point here. He's riding a gravel bike. He's not really ready to race cross. And we have a few moments of back and forth, though, which is terrific, fun racing. I run through this sand and up and around this corner before I hop to get back on. Meanwhile, he's on my right out there. And I'm out of gas, just breathing heavy. And then the chaos ensues. Alex gets pushed way out to the right. This is a free-for-all. You can go wherever you want. That's John Collier struggling with the sand. I stay on the gear and on the bike and come back into this in pretty good position. That's Brandon Goranson, I think. And Collier comes around me here. No, that's not him. That's him. Yeah. More sand coming soon to a cyclocross race near you. These guys go all the way to the outside. I stick on the inside. It all kinds of comes out the same. I try and push this pretty big gear through this sand. It's ugly and slow, but I manage it. So this is, Collier and I went back and forth quite a few times in this race. He's struggling with the sand here. I get back in front of him and end up winning this one. It wasn't terribly close. No Chris Stewart either day, today or tomorrow, and Chris Hill, who kind of ends up being my other close competition in a lot of these. Didn't get to race on Saturdays a lot because he had to work, which was a bummer. So anyway, come away with a win on that one. Okay, so here we are the next day. The organizer pulls one of his famous moves and basically inverts the field on the starting line. So those who were on the front are now on the back, and there's 70-some riders in this field. Chris Hill's pumped about it with a big scream, and here we go. This is something like 45 passes in 2 minutes. I don't know exactly. It's nuts. I'll just let you watch because it's kind of crazy. Get into the slow stuff here. Everybody's frustrated to be going slow.
Wait, am I 25th? Wow.
People out of their pedals. And we're going to jump ahead here. It takes me a few minutes to kind of know where to make these moves. You don't want to get too crazy.
Inside.
And as you can see, the cornering speed is just so slow. Starting to move now, though.
Inside.
These guys break early and are off early, and I must get 6 of them in one corner here. Fun stuff. I'm going to accelerate again. We'll speed this up around this guy. Meanwhile, you know, the front of the race is just riding away. So here we go. Around this kid, back to real speed. I sacrificed this corner, but don't give up too much. And now starting to get real creative with passing in the sand. And this is Zach Stayer here. He goes on the inside with the rest of the world. I go outside, carry a ton of speed. And goodbye, Zach. This continues for another lap and a half, 2 laps, until it really sorts itself out. And this is how I spent most of the race. This is Chris Hill here in front of me. We had a very good race. And I get this sweet move here inside he and Jordan Chapman. Seemed obvious to me. Again, flat bar move. Cross that rough stuff on the inside. They stay on the outside. Jordan had some commentary about that. He thought that was a fun move, and he would get a little bit more up here. I'll let you hear it.
That was an interesting line. That's a flat bar line.
That was an interesting line. That's a flat bar line, I say. And it was. It was rough in there. But this race, I don't have a lot of it here. But I was back and forth with Chris Hill throughout this race. I ended up getting him by 6 seconds or so in the end just because the sand played in my favor. But I get the win. Very close racing. So here we are back at Eagle Bike Park for the second round of racing, Saturday and Sunday races again. I've got the camera turned around facing backwards this time, and they've given us our own starting group here. So this is just 1, 2s, and single speeds, and that's McKenna right next to me. Long wait here for the buzzer.
Okay, we're going to go on the whistle in the next 10 seconds. All right, road clear, here we come.
And I'm just absolutely determined to get this whole shot. I want it bad. The course is slick and wet, and I'm determined to make this my day.
All right.
So there's McKenna. I'm on top of my gear. Get out on him, and you'll see Chris Stewart here in the Envy kit. There he is. So I'm right about where I want to be. Third wheel going into this thing. That's Jordan Chapman coming up. And we'll go to the outside shot here into the first corner. You'll see we are all taking it super easy. It is so wet and slick. I can't even begin to describe how slick it is. Everybody's tentative. Nobody wants to go down in that first corner. But I've got a good start. I'm third wheel and back on board now. You can see Stewart, and you can see the concrete's wet. Just taking it super easy. That grass is so slick. So we're going to hold on through the first few corners here. And now we're going to come into this off-camber section that was like ice tilted up at 30 degrees. It is so slick, and it is difficult to describe how hard this is to ride. Off-camber for this full distance, and then slowly back onto on-camber. I get around Alan there. He's taking it super easy. I have no business being in front of him on any given day. He's the fastest guy in the state. But again, just everybody's being super careful here. We don't want to go down. We don't want to take our other riders out. Alan tries to go back around the outside. Can't really make it stick. But don't worry, he's coming back soon enough. We go up around this next bend and then over some super slow barriers at the top of this little rise. Everybody's off their bikes. It's super slow. And now I'm still third wheel, or second, I guess. Alan goes around me there, and Ryan Craig goes down in that corner. Now he's getting back on board here. Watch what happens with Chris Stewart. Little bit of a delay. I'm accelerating down the hill. And that begins the pattern for this race. Chris struggling a little bit with the lack of grip. I tend to have good luck there. Here he bobbles a little bit running into these stairs. We get up this and we go back down the hill. We're pretty evenly matched up the stairs, actually. Back down the hill, I accelerate away so the gap increases, but the time probably stays about the same until we hit this short, sharp climb that's coming up really soon. I stay on my bike, Chris opts to run, and this is the deal breaker for him in this race. This is really what broke the elastic. See, he's running. It's about 4 hard pedal strokes up that thing. I get it. I'm back on my gear really quick, and that's kind of it. I win this race over Stewart by, I don't know, between a minute and 2 minutes. Probably my best race of the year.
Have fun, enjoy the day. Let's do this.
Okay, so here we are the next day. Opposite direction, same start. And I'm just going to let this play out because it's so fun. So you'll see it takes me a second to get on top of the gear, but it doesn't really matter. Everybody with real gears gets out there pretty good. You can see the cadence there in my shadow, going as hard as I possibly can. And Bear National Kid around me on the right, with flat bars in a cross race and fat tires. Gotta love that. And he is just made of horsepower. So try and stay with him here because some amazing fun things are about to happen. Flat bars in a cross race mixed with youth. Here we go.
Yeah! Come on back.
Let him back in because I know that there's no way I'm going to stay with him anyway. And the race shall continue. I fight other battles. So this is Jordan Chapman having some struggles here in this slick off-camber going the other direction today. Again, just even slicker than the day before. Terrible stuff. Sorry for the clicks. Those are my brake lines tapping the back of the camera there.
Careful.
I give him a careful because I can see he's struggling, and he ditches the sunglasses there because it is pretty muddy even though it doesn't look like it. And he has another little bobble here. Yeah, oh, and that lets me go around. Good stuff. So I accelerate. Most of this race is spent in this battle with Jordan, who's on a geared bike. He's in the 1-2s, and I end up racing with him. He beats me in the end. Chris Hill is the only other single speeder that mattered in this race that much. He was, I don't know, a minute or two back at the end. I think I win this one pretty handily. I think Chris didn't quite have the right gear, and I tend to do pretty well in these slick conditions, so that helps me. You can see the mud coming off the tires there. More of a battle here with Jordan. You'll see him do what a lot of geared riders do, which is find a spot like this, open it up, and say goodbye to the single speeder. And so here we are, a lap or two later. This is still mid-race before he checks out. I do the same thing to him. And what follows over the next minute is just so fun, classic amateur goofball racing. I absolutely love it. So down the hill here, the fun stuff doesn't come until we get around a few more corners, but I'm just going to let it play. So around the edges of the parking lot in the sand here, we're about to come back to that super short, sharp climb. And I want you to see how that unfolds. Because Jordan is such a good sport here and just so full of laughs. I absolutely love this. So we're coming into it now. I'm going in a little hot. I end up a little offline. Jordan's running, and I screw it up, but I'm still on my bike. Hand on my back, he gives me a shot. I thank him, and listen to this.
Not gonna do it next lap.
Not going to do it next lap.
Next lap, it's on me.
Next lap's on me. Anyway, I win this one by a minute or so. Okay, last weekend of the series. This is race number 10 of 11. This is Saturday, and I'm just going to hold here while I explain this ridiculous start. So there's a long history in this series of one of my fellow single-speed competitors, Chris Hill, just letting all the emotion out on the starting line with a big yell. Alex, the starter, tries to get him to do it and says, "Go, Chris." And when he says go, we all start racing. And then he says, no, everybody go back. And so he holds us back, except for one rider, Bob, who's a 60-plus Masters rider. And Bob gets to go while the rest of us get held back. Anyway, I'm ahead in the series standings at this point in the single-speed class. I don't think I could be caught mathematically, but I'm here because I want to race bikes. And so is Chris Stewart. And so in order to improve my standings, I have to beat Chris Stewart in this race. And as we get going here, I'll explain my strategy. But what you need to know is this is an uphill start, and there are 70 of us, and it's really cold. Nobody wants to hit the ground. And for whatever reason, there was a lot of nerves here going into this start. So I'll just let it play out as it does.
Hey, Chris Hill, how you feeling? Let's do this again. Chris, go! What? No, just Chris. I want Chris to yell. Settle down, kids.
There's the false start.
This is tradition.
You said the word.
We know how you are.
Actually, you can stay up there. That's fine.
So there's Bob. Bob's going to go.
Just go ahead. Yeah, go.
Go ahead.
You're fine.
Go, Bob, go.
Perfect.
All right, now it's our turn.
All right, guys, again, have fun. Enjoy the day. Be kind and curious, and go.
Kind and courteous, just like we always are in cross racing. Anyway, there's Stewart over there running his bike, which turns out to be a pretty good move. Doesn't give him a lot of space on me, but he does end up in front of me. And further off to the right, kind of hiding right now, is Christian McKenna in the handlebar grabbing baggies. Somebody complaining about my big wide bars there. That is the way it is, kids. Anyway, us single speeders are in probably around 20th position, and we need to be in about 10th to be settled out. So here we go. This is Brandon Akers there on the left in the black. Little style there from McKenna going over that thing. And it is getting dicey. For whatever reason, lots of nerves, lots of bumping and grinding here. You'll see McKenna run into Will Stinger right there, little bump. Rubbin's racing, folks, and you'll recognize Will from some of my other videos. That's him in the Green Highlights Real Theater kit. So I'm going to go around Will on the right as we go up into this slowdown for the barrier. And then I try and make a couple other moves. Doesn't really work out as we go into the next left-hander. So I'm going to go inside of Jordan, who lets me have it because he's too polite. And here we are with Christian. He wants nothing more than an elbow-to-elbow battle, and he is going to get his wish. So here we are, 3 wide through that corner. I can't get it done there, obviously, but good enough speed here to slide in the inside. Slow him down, cut him off, and this is the most aggressive move I made all season. Maybe not the smartest. I think that might have been an F-bomb, so That's cross racing, folks. Nobody got hurt. Nobody gets hurt falling down at 10 miles an hour in the grass, so the stakes are low. I've got 2 positions between myself and Chris Stewart now, and I need to get up there because Stewart is going to ride away very rapidly. I ride inside a wheelie here, go between the stake and the stump, get that. You can see Stewart winding up that big gear. Now I've only got 1 to go, but Chris is going to make a couple moves. My strategy here is to get on his wheel and stay there in hopes that I can find out where I'm faster than him on each lap and then get him at the end with a surprise move in one of the places where I'm faster. Now, that turns out to be a long shot, but it's a fun one, and it doesn't play out in the end. I'm going to have to get past Cortino here, but what ends up happening is with about a lap to go, lap and a half to go, I take myself out of contention with a pedal strike, hit the ground, lose 20 seconds to Chris, and he wins the race. Doesn't matter in the end. I would have had to beat him to improve my points standings, and I think it was mathematically impossible for him to catch me anyway. He wins the race. I win the series. But here we go. You can see some more power there from Chris. And I'm trying to make that move. Not nearly as easy for me as it is for him. And now we're chasing Ryan Craig there on the yellow bike as we continue to move through the field.
Inside.
So I'm kind of hoping that Ryan makes a slip or Chris makes a slip here. I'd be willing to capitalize on either one. As you can see, trying to stay high in these corners, thinking that if I don't overlap wheels and they slip, I can get inside. So going high here, looking for an inside move. Not happening there. High again, not happening there. But there is a slip, not enough to matter. High again, looking to go inside. Nobody slips. High again. And there's a slip that matters, and Chris gets Ryan. Now, I don't have the punch to get around him, but around this left, I'm on his outside, hoping for an inside move on the next right. And that is not how it works out. That is called getting chopped, folks. That is the end of that race and the end of my season. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, please subscribe by hitting the button in the bottom right corner of the screen. Check out our other videos as well. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.